Welcome, everybody. I'm Kyle Hines, and I'll be hosting the Players Podcast, a GTM family production in partnership with the EuroLeague Players Association. I will be having in-depth conversations with current and former EuroLeague players about important topics that many athletes face on and off the basketball court. Stay tuned for more episodes. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a special edition of the Players Podcast presented by the EuroLeague Players Association. Today, I have a very special guest, a legendary figure, a global, basketball, to me, a global basketball icon for all the things that he has accomplished and all things that he's continuing to accomplish.
A 10-year NBA pro, captain of the Israeli national team, a 2018 NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors, and a current member of the Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball team. My guy, Omri Casspi. Omri, what's going on, man?
Good, real good, my brother. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, anytime, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for taking the time like we spoke about, man. First off, man, I just want to say I'm happy to see you back on the court. I know that, you had some, injuries and some challenges, that way. But I'm happy to see you back. I mean, I think, basketball in general, especially EuroLeague basketball, is better off seeing you on the court, man. So I'm welcome, and I hope, like I said, man, I hope you stay injury-free and you continue to compete.
Thank you. It's been a long process, of unfortunate kind of set of events back to back, not being able to play and being my teammates out there competing, But one thing that helped me to hold my head above water was, my teammates, my guy Otello Hunter. I would never forget. Yeah, that's my guy. He's like my brother. So. Yeah. When I got hurt, one of the first things he told me was like, Omri, take your time to recover. I got you. We got you, and we're going to hold it down, and when you have a brotherhood like this, you appreciate the camaraderie and, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. The game is the game and I love the game, but the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the relationship we built throughout the years, just like no other.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I mean, that's the best part about the game. To me, just the brotherhood. I think a lot of people don't understand that unless you're actually involved in it and you're part of it every day. And you mentioned Othello. I mean, Othello is one of my most favorite teammates, of all time. We still chat it up and we still conversate to this day, man. He's a great guy, man.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, and the things you guys have accomplished with the Player Association is just remarkable. It's an amazing time to be a EuroLeague player now. From the Player Association taking care of players' travel to the stickers on the court to having your own room and being able to sleep better, to have the exit row on the plane.
Yeah.
And to me, what was amazing was throughout COVID, the protection, and you felt like you have somewhere to kind of, you have somebody backing you up and in representation, within the EuroLeague, within the teams and everything else. It's just a privilege to be a part of that, the Player Association, and kudos to you guys for setting that up.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. As long as we continue to have the support, from the players like yourself, I think that we can continue to see this grow, and hopefully, when me and you were, old and long and done, I mean, we could sit back and say that that EuroLeague was better off because of the Players Association, and we can be proud, of EuroLeague basketball, what it was accomplished.
No question. And I think players must understand two things. One, there's a really good NBA Player Association, and there's a lot to learn and some of the correlations that we can do with them. And also what young players should understand is that, I'm 32, soon to be, in this summer I'll be 33, and it's important for what you guys are doing, and to be a part of this is for the future generation, to protect their future and to be able to play. And, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to be done in a couple of years, right? Yeah. It is what it is. But now there's a 20-year-old coming up that, in the U.S. or elsewhere, we're setting the stage for them to have a better on-the-court career, but also off the court. And everything you guys have been doing, it's just amazing. The business development stuff, the meetings, the calls, the Instagram and social media programs, all that is phenomenal. It's just the base of just amazing things for you to come.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Like I said, that means a lot, especially for somebody, if somebody coming from you, somebody that's, that has experienced almost everything and, been a part of, so many great teams and great organizations. So it means a lot, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
it's fun. I want to start off. We're going to go back a little bit to June 25th, 2009, the NBA draft.
Wow.
So for you, what was that feeling like? And not only the feeling for you, but the feeling for, the country of Israel. I mean, you're a pioneer. You're a trailblazer in yourself. I mean, being that the first Israeli-born player to not only be drafted, but to also play in the NBA. So what was that day and what was that moment like for you, especially?
It's a day and a moment, I'll cherish forever. In the end of the day, the work and what each player have to go through throughout his life and career to get to that point, to be drafted, to be able to play in that league, and is just a remarkable thing. Obviously, being the first was something that was a part of that, but at the same time, I was just feeling, honored and humbled to be in that position, to be able to represent my family, to myself, my family, my community, my city, my country in the United States, play for different organizations and different styles and different players, and to make friendships throughout the way. It all started on June 25th, 2009 for me, and my life changed from one end to another on that day, right? I was a player for Maccabi. I played EuroLeague at the time. I was honored to play EuroLeague. EuroLeague is an unbelievable league with unbelievable players. And suddenly, you get to the NBA and you represent not just yourself anymore. There's people looking up to you, and you need to do more. You need to do for the community, all that sort of stuff. So it's a great, feeling. It's a day that, I know how many players have tried to make it and couldn't for some reasons as well. So honored, and I promised myself when I started and I stepped foot on the basketball court that, I always going to be will try at least to be the hardest worker and to stay humble and true to the game of basketball. I love the game. I love my teammates, and this is something that I always pride myself with.
Did you understand the magnitude of your accomplishment, when you were drafted? Like, obviously you were 21 years old, but did you understand like the meaning that it had not only to like yourself, but, to, like I said, entire, country or, group of people?
No, honestly, and on so many different levels from a basketball perspective, right? Getting into in 2009, that was before social media. That was before it's literally Twitter just started, Facebook. Basketball games in the NBA weren't televised as much as today. They were in the NBA TV. I didn't know what to expect getting into a locker room now as a 21-year-old into an NBA locker room, and it was different times too. Now the NBA, back then, you had some serious characters sometimes in a locker room. It was tough. You had to go out and prove yourself. There was a lot of one-on-one game. It was training camp was hard. Getting to training camp first day, you do the easy runs and all the Byron Scott and Petrali type workouts, tough, and guys were going at you. And today the game has changed a little bit. Now the game is a lot faster, shoot a lot more threes. So it was different times. And from that perspective, it was a total culture change and a shock in a sense, right? To move into a new country and to kind of at a 21, it's different. But also from, just from a business perspective and, the privilege that I had to meet so many amazing people, basketball players and business people and cultural people and singers and artists and all that sort of stuff, to be able to get to know them and to kind of pick their brain. I remember me and Andre Iguodala used to sit and talk about Elon Musk, dude, like how he thinks, it's like, he was like, we just had dinner with, like, Andre was like, I just had dinner with him last night, and you just see the way he thinks. And he started, I'll start picking his brain on like how to handle situations. And like, dude, this is unbelievable. So to be able to be in that position, the NBA has opened that door, right? And it was fun.
When was the moment at 21 when you got to your rookie year that you realized that you were an NBA player? Did you have like, that moment that was like I'm here? Like, was it your first game? Was it like, a little on down the line? Was it training camp? When was that realization like really hit you?
I don't know. It's a good question. That's a good question right there. I don't know. The thing that stayed with me is the first time we played Kobe. at Staples. May he rest in peace. We played him in training camp. There's always Sacramento playing the Lakers in training camp in Vegas. It was a big event. But the first time when we went to Staples and the announcer there has just a different presentation, the way he represents the players in LA. It's like a deep voice and you're playing at Staples and you see Kobe and when me growing up, it was Michael and then AI and Shaq, but it was Kobe. It was Kobe. There was the time when LeBron was starting to pick up and become LeBron, but he was still Kobe. So playing against him and you see just his mentality and he's holding his jersey like this and he's pissed and we're up at halftime. We're like, dude, we got him. We up 20 points at halftime. We're like, oh, that's not that bad. We got him. And then you start seeing him, boom, shooting threes. And then they beat you at the buzzer and Kobe made the 3-point shot to win the game. We're up 2. Kobe make a 3-point shot to beat the game. We're like, man, that's how it is, huh? Kobe, that's how he does it, huh? But,
that's what the NBA is all about.
but it was, oh boy, we were young, 21, thinking we got him, and the second half, just don't look him in the eye, but he was tough. He was great. But, playing against the greats, it's like you go to sleep the night before of a game and you're like, dude, I'm playing the Lakers tomorrow. That's something you dreamed of as a young player.
Now, how do you separate that as like you said, as a young player, not being too much of a fan? Because did you have like, obviously you talked about Kobe, but did you have like anybody else specifically where it was like I'm playing against such and such, or I'm playing against AI? Like, did you have like a fan moment? Did you have to catch yourself like in the middle of a game anytime or anything like that?
Yeah. The good thing about 2009 draft, when young players now looking in, Blake Griffin was number 1. James Harden was number 3. Steph was number 7. We had DeMar, I think, number 9. Ty Lawson, Drew Holiday, Derek Collison. We had a lot of good players. James Johnson. We had a lot of good players in the draft. But we're all Steph. Maybe now is James and Steph are the biggest stars in our draft. But now, when we grew up, it was KG, and Kobe and Shaq and like Dwayne Wade, and you won a championship with Miami. So you started. We had a game against I think it was the Celtics. We played Ray, Paul Pierce, and KG. And you go into a box out on a rebound, you got to box out KG, and KG starting to make these noises to you. And it's like, I was like, dude, KG's about to be pissed. But I'm like, with my nature, I'm like, man, whatever. I'm boxing this man out. KG. But Paul Pierce getting mad. He's being a little chippy and dirty sometimes, but it was an honor. These are the best of the best, and it was just an honor to play with these guys. So it's like, let's compete. When you step into the court, it was always about a privilege to play the game of basketball, to represent, to be there for my team and just compete.
No, I agree. Now, when you first came over and you got drafted by Sacramento, how difficult or how easy was the transition, for you, both on and off the court? And then was there something about Sacramento or about NBA life that surprised you, during your rookie year that you didn't expect or anything like that?
Yeah, well, a lot of things kind of hit me by a surprise, I would say. Yeah, like the travel, the amount of games we played, and the intensity of playing night in and night out. At the time, playing EuroLeague there's 2 games a week. There's the EuroLeague and EuroLeague game. And, we respect every opponent we play against, but the intensity and the speed of the game, the intensity of the game is not the same playing Israeli League to EuroLeague. And then you suddenly start playing, and then you start playing the Lakers and the Cavaliers on a back-to-back. So you gotta be there, and it's transition you gotta make and learn how to bring yourself night in and night out. And now I actually enjoy that we play more games in the EuroLeague, and I don't know what you think about that, but I think the more it's fun to compete at this level, and I think fans are cherishing, and people in Europe are respecting the game in a certain manner that, they love their teams, and it's great to play. I mean, you go to play you guys in Milan, and it's great, and then you go to Panathinaikos, we have Panathinaikos soon, or Ceska, and it's all different environment. It's just great to play, So it's just it's just different, And so the amount of game, the intensity, the travel, it's kind of a shock. And then I think I hit the wall. It took me, a couple months into the season when I hit the wall, like I was really fatigued, and I was just learning how to take care of my body and stretch and drink a lot of water and food and massage and all that. And back then we didn't have a massage therapist. At the time it was like nobody really knew what it was. And I was like, I'm finishing practice, Kyle. I need massage.
The massage before and after practice. The massage therapist is our best friend now.
Ice bath, like who knew about that? Now I'm like, I'm icing. I need my 10 minutes, So it's just different. It's just different times.
Now, for me, I'm a fan of EuroLeague, and I just want to get your perspective about when you first started out and you kind of came along where Maccabi was at its height in 2004, 2005, when they won those back-to-back EuroLeague championships. Right. Now, as a young player growing up, and I know you had just started, within the youth program around that time, but what was it like to experience that as a young player, to, experience, those championships and, experience Derek Sharp and Anthony Parker and, Nikolai Vujicic and, and Sadas and all these guys, and the legendary coaching staff that you guys have, like, what was that like for you?
It was an unbelievable, humbling experience. I think one of the biggest hurdles for international players is the jump from the junior levels to the professional levels. Many guys, in the US, whether it's okay or not, it's a different story, but they have that program that they go into college and they have the transition, some sort of transition to play, like from high school, and then they go to college, and then they go to the league or they go to Europe. In Europe, you're 18-year-old, 17-year-old, and suddenly you got to compete with really good basketball. Like the level in EuroLeague is unbelievable. Yeah. Like I'm really, really good, and teams are playing at such a high level. So from a 17-year-old, at the time it was Shars, the point guard, Tal Bushten was the two guard who was really good. AP was 3, Maceo Baston was 4, Nikola was 5, Derek Sharp coming off the bench, David Blumenthal, all these guys, with NBA experience, EuroLeague experience, championship under their belts. Pini was the coach. David Watt was assistant. Don Shamir was a third assistant. Like, think about it. And you need to learn. And, as a young player, I was just anxious. And I just wanted to, like, what is it like? How is it, what is, some of the method, the defensive, segments? How do you do that? How do you play that? And then, you're anxious to learn what it's like in the NBA. How many shoes do you have? I wanted to have a lot of Nike shoes.
The simple things, right?
You have your own locker. You have your own locker, and you get all kinds of shoes you want. Like, all kinds of shoes. Like, whoa, this is heaven.
Yeah, fact.
Oh man.
Fact.
You telling me I can get Nike? I'm like, you go to equipment guy, you can switch shoes every practice. We got guys coming in. Play basketball like that. So just to learn, is and it's still, I see young guys now. I'm trying to kind of help them and share some of my experiences and do that. It's just a good position to be in.
Now I want to circle back to the 2017, 2018 Warriors team. You were a part of that team, throughout the majority of the season. So just what was that experience like to play with those group of guys, Steph, Draymond, all those guys? I mean, what was that experience like? And then did you talk about, like, the Warriors way? Like everybody always talks about, Steve Kerr and the organization and how it's just different. Can you speak about that?
Yeah, it taught me a lot about the game of basketball, and made me think a lot different on many things. From the respect that Steve gave the players, and they earned it, obviously, but Steve was the first coach that I've seen him come into the locker room and say, "Hey guys, what do you think we should do here? How do we stop whatever, Lou Williams coming off the screen?" And there was some sort of a discussion between, the guys, the vets usually, but, Andre and Draymond and KD and, Steph and Clay, and they'll talk and they'll figure it out. And coach will say, "Okay, I like it." And they go with it, and they understand, like to me, us as competitors, sometimes coaches trying to kind of teach the game, and like we get it. We want to win really bad, and we want to compete. You know, we made it for a reason, right? You were the best power forward center in Europe for the last 10 years, and for a reason, you know, and like unbelievable, right? Like you talk about me, but I don't want to talk about you for a second. Like
Thank you.
I'm seeing you in the game. I see you the way you touch defensively and the way, you know, you touch the little things, you rebound, you pass, your understanding of the game. So like like Steve was the first that like, hey, Draymond. So Draymond like, hey, don't let him come on like running downhill on you. Let's go up on him.
Mm-hmm.
The big should be up there with him. You know, so little things like that was the Warriors, you know, and sometimes you come to practice, it's like, guys, get what you need, you know?
Yeah.
Get what you need today, no practice. So you go in, you get your lift, you get some shots. You don't want to get shots, don't like, come ready to play tomorrow. And then you appreciate that, and you have that connection that you have responsibility on your shoulder more than just like, I'll need to teach you how to do this. And then guys are like, all right, let's go. You know, It's time to lace up and go. So the guys are just unbelievable, you know, like good guys, smart, you know, the locker room was so important. And for a reason that they're one of the best teams to ever. I mean, KD, Steph, Clay, Andre, Draymond, it's like Sean Livingston, David West.
I always say that's like it's like a video game team. It's like when you were younger and you were like, you know, created the all-star team with a video game. That's real life right there.
Yeah. But this was the respect, you know. So David West was a very vocal leader in the locker room. I think the refs give you the respect. You know, we used to talk to the refs all the time. So, you know, they used to give us, you know, they didn't call as much fouls and stuff. You know, you can get away with more. So those little things in the end, they you know, they come into you want to beat the Warriors, you need to be playing really, really good. And it's, you know, if you play a 7-game series, you got to face these guys for 7 games. It's really tough.
So a funny question I have is this: how often are you wearing your championship ring? Are you just wearing it around the house, or you just, you know, every once in a while bringing it out, talking about, you know, I'm going here, you know, the beach is that where you put it on your pinky finger every once in a while?
Honestly, we keep it at a house. I look at it every once in a while. You know, when you get a ring, the team gets you one for your family as well. Okay. So I got one for my wife. That's nice. And I got one for my parents. I gave them a gift. My wife got it as a gift from the team. You get one for yourself. You get one for your wife. And then I got one for my parents.
That's a dream come true right there. I mean, you said you're part of a exclusive club, you know, of people that, you know, have those and own that jewelry, man. So that has to be a special feeling.
It's definitely an honor. I mean, tell me what it's like to feel like you won EuroLeague championships and you've been in. It's just when you win, it's just it's also a different relationship, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible feeling. I mean, especially like we talked about a little bit earlier about the brotherhood, you know, so when you see those guys and, you know, even if you're on different teams or you're in different situations, you always have that connection. So when you see you know, in EuroLeague is a little bit different, you get the little miniature trophies, but when you see the trophy and you know, it automatically brings you back to those experiences and those moments. And, you know, that's, I think, you know, what we all enjoy the most in sports, and especially team sports, you know, those moments that we get a chance to share with those guys that we have, you know, forever.
So you feel like for you, you know, obviously money is part of what we do, but, you know, the competitive nature and winning championship means the world, no?
It's the reason why we do this. It's the reason why, you know, why we wake up every day, the reason why, you know, we're still at our age, you know, still, you know, competing and still, you know, going out every day. It's a high, I guess you can say, you know, and once you know, get that feeling or even get close to that feeling, you know, you're still chasing it. It's addictive. That's exactly what it is. It's addictive. I mean, and it's like, and then I guess the great thing and also the bad thing I feel about athletics is that, you know, we win a championship, you win a title, but then as soon as that's over, you got to start focusing on the next season. So it's like you never really get a chance to fully really enjoy it, to really, you know, soak up the full experience, because like you said, you're coming back and you're chasing that addictive feeling, you know, right back the next year. So I love it, man.
They're coming right back, you know, competition is coming right back. And you know, what gets me is, you know, Michael, you know, when he won, he wanted 2. You know, he won 3. You know, he already was thinking in his mind 5. All right, people was like, why is he making signal 6? He's already, you know, on his. This is, you know, it's just it's a different, you know, it's a different mindset. I love it. You know, I completely agree.
Now you came back to EuroLeague, and you decided to sign with Maccabi. So talk about first, you know, what was the decision in coming back? You know, what it meant to you, and then what was the biggest difference? You know, you left Maccabi as a 21-year-old, and now you're came back, you know, as a 30+ year old player with tons of experience. You know, what was that experience coming back for you?
Mostly, you know, I always respected the EuroLeague so much that, you know, I always promised myself that I want to play, you know, at the highest level as long as my body will allow me. And I felt, you know, being in the league, it was great. It was an amazing time, but I still have some stuff that I want to accomplish myself in the EuroLeague. And Maccabi was a home for me. I grew up, I played for Maccabi junior team at the age of 13, 14. Yeah. I turned pro. I played professionally for Maccabi for 3 years before I got drafted. And it was natural for me to come back. My wife wanted to be home. Our family is here. It's comfortable for us. So the biggest difference is, you know, you leave and you come back, you have a ton of experience, and, you know, your role is different, and what the team is expecting you on and off the court is a little bit different. And yeah, at this point, you know, the only thing that is on our mind is really to win. You know, unfortunately, this season has been ups and downs for us. It's been a crazy year, but, you know, whether we able to get to the top, you know, to the top 8 or not, we want to compete every night and win every game possible. And just being that one of these guys in the locker room to kind of help my team and to fuel the engine and to kind of push everybody to be better. And we have great leaders on our team. You know, this is one thing Maccabi has done well, you know, last year and this year as well. It's Scotty and Totello and some of the rest of the guys in the locker room. We have guys that have been in situation, and this, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to win at the highest level, experience is instrumental, right?
It's key.
Guys that have been there, and guys that you've been, you know, Otello been in the league, you know, guys that have experience and they've been in situation and they understand dynamics of season and all these sort of stuff. It all comes together. So, you know, I'm focused on trying to help the team win and play the highest level for a couple more years, and then they go from there.
What do you enjoy the most about the EuroLeague and EuroLeague basketball? For me, we talked about before, is the competition. It's just the night in, night out. Like I always say, you know, the knock on the NBA is the load management. There's no load management in EuroLeague. Like, you know, you have to come and you have to play every night, no matter if you're playing, you know, the top team or you're playing the bottom team. So, you know, what do you enjoy the most about EuroLeague basketball?
No, I completely agree with you. And I would add to that is that, you know, the atmosphere of a game is different. Like when you play a regular season game, you know, anywhere pretty much, it's not as, you know, the fans are not getting crazy. Here you come into Tel Aviv, you go into Greece, to Serbia, fans are going crazy, ballistic, right? You know, they're going, you know, it's just a fun environment to play in. And I love the way the game is played, right? The game is the ball is moving from side to side. There's real, you know, there's real thesis behind everything that you do. Every possession counts. In the league is like, okay, so you can lose a game, whatever. Here it's like, we all have 34 games. It's different. So, but it's just, do you ever feel like the NBA season is, you know, 82 games is long, and sometimes it's just, you know, maybe a little different, you know?
Yeah. I would agree. I definitely would agree. I feel like, you know, like I said before, I think the EuroLeague that's what makes the EuroLeague special and makes it so unique, is that every game matters. Not even just every game, it's every possession. Like you can't even take a possession off on a majority of these games. So, and like you said, the atmosphere.
And what I'm surprised also is that, not surprised is that the NBA respects the EuroLeague players so much.
Yeah.
And you see guys that played in Europe for so many years. Anthony Parker now is a GM of the D-League team in Orlando. Trajan Linden is the GM of the New Orleans, I think the Hornets now, that used to be the Pelicans. So you see, and not only them, Thiago Splitter is with Brooklyn. I see a lot of guys that they have so much knowledge. And we have Devin Smith is with the Phoenix Suns, I think. So many guys, it's like they have such basketball knowledge, experience, and then these are professionals, and when you see sometimes college kids coming to play in Europe, they think, oh, it's, they don't know. But then these are grown men. These are professionals. They've been in the league. They've been in top level for so many years. They know, everything. They have the respect. It's totally different, so it's great to know. It's great to see. It's great to see. Do you ever think about that though? Do you ever think about going to the US after you retire and to be kind of take the route of being a GM or a coach?
Honestly, I mean that's where I think I'm leaning towards to go into some type of front office position. I've talked a lot with Trajan. Got to know talk a lot with J.R. Holden. All these guys.
Where's JR now?
JR is with Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's in Brooklyn. He's part of their front office group. I have talked to a bunch of friends that are are involved. I seen Devin. Devin lives in the tri-state area. I live in New Jersey. Devin, I think, lives in Delaware. So we see each other sometimes on the bike path. So we always are talking to each other. But yeah, I think that's definitely where I would want to go. What about yourself? Have you even thought about?
It's hard, I mean, I love the US. I lived there for almost 11 years, and it's, it has to be, I love living there. It's a difficult thing to do is that your family's here, and you want to bring your family with you as well, and it has to be something rewarding, such, that you can make that jump. But I would definitely want to be involved in the game, right? I love the game, whether it's Maccabi or with the EuroLeague or some other clubs. I love the game. So being around the game is to me is essential.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about like the future of Israeli basketball. Where do you see it? Obviously, Denny, who's been, was a great prospect, it was just drafted this past year, but, where do you see it and how, and, I know you have done things. We'll talk about your foundation and different things in a second, but, where do you see the future, of the game in Israeli basketball, and how much has it changed from the time that, like you said, you were drafted to now? Like I said, now I guess you're back home more and you're seeing and you're involved a lot more. So how has it changed? How have you noticed, more kids wanting to play basketball? Has you noticed, the game has changed, the mentality of the game has changed there?
That's a great question. I think one, you can see a lot more kids now are wanting to be around the game. I think the fact that social media has kind of opened the venue, you can see clips and, Steph Curry and LeBron and KD and all these guys, pretty much all the time. That opens up even more. And one thing that I really like about the young kids now, to a certain extent, right, is that, they allow themselves to dream of making it, right? When I grew up, 13, 14-year-old, the discussion was always about just turning professional, making it to the first Israeli league. Is that even possible? It's hard. The Americans are coming. The good players are coming. You have to compete, all that sort of stuff. Now, you have guys at 15, 16, like, I want to make it to the NBA. So to a certain extent, this is great, but also they need to understand that there's a lot of work needs to be done, right? These are grown men over there. These are people that they work their butt off and their tail off every day to be the player they are, right? And so it's great to dream in there, but also you got to combine it with the passion of hard work and dedication. And I think, how much work have you put in, right, to be in the position that you are, right? It doesn't happen just you wake up in the morning like this. So I think this is something that they all got to understand. I think Denny understands it now too. To make the jump, it's a tough league. You got to play with Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, which two amazing superstars, and you got to fit in. It's different. It's a process.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I want to give my kudos to you, because I think that you're a big reason why that conversation has changed. Because I think the young kids, the young generation there, have seen you accomplish it and seen all the things that you accomplished, and now have the opportunity to see you come back. I think that is the reason why, like you said, when you were 15, 16, players are like, oh, I just want to make it to the Israeli league. Now players, they see you come back, they see all things that you experienced, and they're like, oh man, like, if Mari can do it, if Denny can do it, I can do it. They're from the same, same country, absolutely, the same city as me. So, yeah, man, like I said, man, I think that, I mean, to be a pioneer, to be a trailblazer, you know, of your country, of your, you know, of your generation is amazing, man. Like I said, man, my hat's off to you for taking on that. I mean, like I said, 'cause I know it's not always easy. There's some good with it. I know there's also there's some added pressure that comes with that as well.
Then, you know, it actually relates to the foundation. You know, when I started my work for the community per se, and what was going through my mind is actually two things. One is first and foremost, I think, you know, the first time I had the opportunity to, you know, when we used to go to Washington or Philly, so the market, or even like Alabama, right? We used to play the New Orleans. So we used to go to Alabama to see the Marcus family, you know, and his mom used to take us to dinner, you know. So, or Baltimore, I had friends, Dante Green and Jason Thompson, all these guys, staff, you know, they used to invite me, and I got to experience, you know, their culture and some of their experiences growing up. And I never had the chance. It's like, hey, DeMarcus, come with me, you know, come see my family, you know, come see where I grew up, you know, let's build, we did with the Player Association, we built 4 basketball courts of the Player Association donation. So it's a great thing for me, you know, and it relates to, you know, when you see it with your eyes. And, you know, it's important for me to see some of the guys to come with me and see where I'm from, my country, and what the people are about, and my experience is about, and come to my parents' house and have dinner. My mom would make, you know, some chicken noodle soup and some you know, whatever. So all these different things. It was the first time I had opportunity to do that. And, you know, the best memory I have is the Marcus kind of hugging my mom and Rudy, you know, my family. We go to the beach, you know, and we go to Jerusalem and you experience that kind of stuff. So to me, that was the magnitude of having that and kind of being in that position.
Yeah, I mean, me and Jason Thompson were from the same area. So when I talked to him, and indirectly when I talked to him
JT was at my brother's wedding.
Is that yeah. So I always that's why I feel like I kind of know you, but I don't like we talk to each other, but we haven't talked to each other because I talked to Jason so much about you, and he, you know, he has so many great things to say about you. But he talked to me about, you know, his first time going overseas was actually through your foundation and through your trip. And he talked, you know, he came back and he was talking about so many great things and, you know, so much of the experience that he learned. And he said that, you know, when he went overseas, now he's playing in, you know, Spain and China and Turkey. Right. He said a lot of that, you know, the anxiety of him going overseas, you know, once he experienced, you know, the beauty of Israel and the beauty that you showed him, he was able to he go overseas and play, and he wanted to explore the world. He wanted to do a lot more. So, so just talk about that. Like, talk about the reaction that you got from a lot of the guys. I mean, not only basketball players, but you had WNBA players, you had UFC, you had, you know, actors, you had, you know, people from the community. So, you know, talk about the you know, what the experiences they got, and, you know, talk about the reaction from some of them.
I mean, we have a platform, we have an opportunity, you know, it relates to the podcast, it relates to social media, it relates to the foundation, is that we have an opportunity today to start, not to start, but to try to help a little bit, you know, in our position as athletes, to kind of heal the world in a sense. Maybe it's a big word, but to show and to, you know, we're so much more alike than we're not. And, you know, when DeMarcus or whoever posts a picture from a country, you know, a kid in Alabama is looking at it saying, hey, you know, he's over there, you know, he's having a good time. You know, I'll never forget, DeMarcus texted me the next day. You know, we got into Israel on Friday morning, and on Saturday morning we had a trip in Jerusalem. We stayed in Jerusalem the first 2 nights, and it kind of went to the Christian quarter, down to we did all sorts of, like, you know, there's a ton of history, you know, buildings of 2,000-3,000 years old, and for him to be able to witness, you know, his beliefs and his religion. And he just texted me, I think it was like 9 a.m. I didn't make that trip. I was so tired. I got in, I had to take care of everything. I did everything on my own. I was the manager of the trip, the flights, everything. And I didn't make the trip. It was like 6 a.m. bus. He was on it. I couldn't make it. At 9 a.m. he texted me, Omri was like, this is a life-changing experience for me. You know, I get to witness this firsthand. It's unbelievable. So you know, it means a lot. You know, it's an opportunity, it's a privilege to now social media kind of connects the whole world like that. You know, we can, if we are able to impact one kid in Alabama or anywhere else, and to see the world in a better, you know, vision, oh man, it's worth it all.
Yeah, man. I think I was reading one of the quotes that you said that, you know, it's how sports is able to connect the world, you know, of people. And, you know, that was one of the most important parts of your foundation. So is it something that you're looking to continue to do, these, you know, these type of things, these type of tours?
Absolutely. We had a plan actually to do it last summer. You know, obviously COVID postponed the whole thing. But I think I want to extend it more. I want to do business trips with, you know, athletes and to be involved with like, I know the Players Association, you guys are doing some business, you know, schools and stuff in Italy and some other places. I would love to, whatever I can do to help and be a part. I would love to, you know, Israel has a very advanced high-tech community. And all sorts of stuff. This is one thing that me and Tariq, the first conversation me and Tariq had, we were on the way to our owners. We had like an opening season event. So Tariq came with me in the car, and we just, you know, I started to pick his brain, the way he sees, and you know how humble he is. You know, one of the first things he told me was like, Omri, I'd love to go to meet new people, and it's you know, God put me in this position to inspire, and if people want to take pictures of me, that's great. I love it. You know, I'm here to do that kind of stuff. And you know, it just clicked to me that he was a special guy, and we stayed in great shape, a relationship up until today. But to be in that, you know, go to Google and to learn how they accelerate startups, and you know, let's go meet this CTO and see some technology and pick his brain on how to do stuff. You know, I think we're you know, basketball players are such a talented. I've been with some of the most talented people in the world. I always said that. So everything is possible. You know, everything is possible in life.
Yeah, I mean, and it's such a diverse community, especially here that we have in EuroLeague. And I think a lot of times, you know, one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast was to give players the opportunity to, you know, to show their personalities. I think a lot of times, especially here in Europe, we don't get an opportunity to, you know, show who we really are, show, you know, talk about our likes, talk about different things. So I wanted to give the fans and, you know, the people a perspective, a totally different perspective. But what you mentioned, you know, with, you know, what you're doing there in Israel, I would love, you know, for EuroLeague players to have an opportunity to take advantage, you know, of that, because, you know, many times the EuroLeague is so much different than the NBA as far as travel. You know, you get to go to a city, you're in the city for 2, 3, 4 days. You know, like you said, you get a chance to explore. Versus us, you know, we're going to a city, we may be in a city for 24 hours or something more or less. I've been to Tel Aviv, I've been to Israel so many times over my career, but I've never got a chance to really, you know, experience it and really get a chance to go out. So, and I think my sentiment would echo with a lot of EuroLeague players. Like, you know, you go to all these cities, you get a chance to see the city, but you never really get a chance to explore these countries. And I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about playing in Europe and playing in EuroLeague, you know, having these opportunities. So, you know, I would love for, you know, for EuroLeague players to get more of opportunity to experience these type of things.
Oh, absolutely. Completely. I mean, first day is like, I think there's so much, right? So you can start with Jerusalem and the history and the Christian Quarter and the Western Wall. And then the next day, the Dead Sea. You know, one of the most amazing experiences is like you float on water, right? It's like, and then it's such an amazing feeling on your skin. You can't put your head into the water though; that's real salty. But after that, it's an amazing thing. And then we go up to Tel Aviv, some business technology. You go up north. There's all sorts of stuff from agriculture to you know, Sea of Galilee, right? Where you just walk on water, right? That's, you know, the church, and you know, so much. And you guys, first and foremost, you're my guest, my brother. Anytime you come,
for sure, man. I'm gonna take you up. I'm gonna take you up on that offer for sure, man. Definitely, man.
But
definitely,
even
man.
the Player Association, so it's definitely an invite, open invite forever.
Definitely, man. Now we're want to get to your podcast. So you recently started the podcast. I think you're 46, 47 episodes deep or something like that have been published. So first of all, what made you want to get into the podcast media world?
Actually, like you touched on it, I feel like sometimes like in general, people kind of perceive athletes as just athletes. And like, I want to talk about economy, and I want to talk about technology, and I want to talk about sports, which I love, but I want to talk politics. Like, I want to talk about everything that is out there. And yeah, to a certain extent, sometimes people perceive it in not a great thing, but to me, it never really, to me, it was always just a platform to do. I love the opportunity we have today. And you doing it, and you're doing an amazing job of talking about, and kind of helping me to kind of tell my story to the world, right? And like, everything that I've done, 46 episodes, is about showing the other person, beauty of the way he thinks, and artists and comedians and whoever it is, and be a platform for some good. This is really the basic of it. And I'll talk to everyone. I'll talk from the left wing parties to the right wing, to basketball, to soccer, to whoever. So everything is on the table to talk, have a good conversation. And today, this is I think relates to many of the way that people now kind of consume media today. It's on demand.
I agree.
It's available. They want to hear it from us, and I'm always anxious. Like, I see you play for so many years, right? And I'm now fortunate to see how educated you are. I didn't know, but Othello told me yesterday when I was prepping to the call that you're doing your own homework. You don't have anyone doing it for you. Like, look at the question this guy asked me. Like, you have interviewers on TV making, 7 figures, not having these kind of conversations, and asking these questions. So you do it on your own. Like, you're really thorough in your, like, it's just, this is, and also you see like why you became the player you became. So
thank you.
Thank you, man. I think it's a great privilege to do that.
Thank you. Now, one of the things that I guess all of us, when we create these podcasts or create this media thing, is the anxiety of how people are going to perceive it. So were you surprised about the reaction, or the positive reaction? Because I see, like, you have a lot of subscribers. I read a lot of the comments, and a lot of people, love what you're doing, or even the guests that have come on. Have you been surprised about the reaction of, of people?
To a certain extent, I was definitely anxious in the beginning. Because pretty much, I think I'm the first athlete to really do it. Now there's, I think, more guys coming up in Israel to do it. But it's very common and popular in the US. You have JJ Redick, you have KD did it, doing his own thing, and some other guys. There's some guys, All the Smoke, which is really good. Matt Barnes that I played with. So I was anxious a little bit, but like I said, there's some people that always not gonna like things, but there's people, and thank God, we've been voted to be the #1 interview podcast in the country. So
congrats, man! Congrats. That's a big accomplishment.
Great to people, So people appreciate it, and I enjoy it. I enjoy, having a good conversation. Some people like, and I respect everyone's free time to do whatever they want, right? So I enjoy, once a month, twice a month, sitting for an hour, 45 minutes with somebody I like, or not necessarily like, but I want to talk to, and kind of pick his brain and talk to him about stuff. Right? I spend a little time preparing, and I enjoy. This is like my free time, right? I really like it. So I think I find it very, interesting, and it's great for me.
Do you see the trend, and you spoke about it just a little bit, but do you see the trend of athlete-led content or athlete-led podcasts picking up in Europe like it has in the States? Like you said, LeBron has his own network, Derek Jeter with, the Players Tribune, and, all these basketball players or football players or just athletes in general in the States, have this content. And it's very rare, like you said, yourself and, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 other people here in Europe that are having podcasts or having this type of stuff. Do you see the trend, picking up, and how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I really hope so. I think it's a process. Now we're starting to see a shift, right? As veterans and guys that are helping to kind of shape the future of EuroLeague players with the Player Association, and kind of taking ownership of what's going on. In the NBA, it's very player centered in a sense. Players have their own thing. They get their own, like you get to a city, you can do your thing. Nobody gets into your business. In Europe, it's much more of like you have team dinners, team lunch, team breakfast. Everything is teams, like, which is good to like whatever. It's good to whatever it is. But like you don't have the freedom that the NBA players. So now we're starting to take ownership of having no stickers on the court and having our own private rooms, etc. So slowly, I think gradually, I think players will be more comfortable of doing more. And we have so many we have guys on one team. We have Croatians, Israelis, Americans, and some of the conversations we've had on our team, it's like you'd be mind blown, And I think guys should start to kind of build their brand, and they have a platform. Social media today allows you to talk directly to millions of people, and hundreds of thousands of people, and to have a positive impact. And I think you're starting to see that, gradually kind of growing in Europe as well.
Now, if you had a dream guest for your podcast, who would that be? If you had the one person that you've been either trying to get, or the one person you're like, if I got this one person on my show, this would be it. Who is that? Who is that one person?
Good question. Wow. That's a good question right there. The first guy to come to mind is MJ. Just Michael. When you start asking the question, I was like, all right, MJ just popped. Yeah. Right. So I'll go with MJ. Now it's like, all right, I have a little bit more time to think. MJ is still there. But like, I would love to pick the brands of like the Elon Musk or the Jay-Z and some other people like that. Like maybe even like a little bit of like Kanye West in a sense. I don't know. Like, I feel like his creative genius, some people that have some things that are unique, about them, and the way they digest the world, maybe a little different.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are all excellent choices. Now, your advice for other athletes that want to start media or a podcast or some type of content, what advice would you give them to start? Because like I think that's the hardest part. I think there's a lot of players, a lot of athletes, especially here in Europe, not just basketball, just athletes in general, that want to do content or want to do something, but they don't know where to start. Either because they're scared or they just don't know what to do. So what advice would you give them as somebody, like I said, has been successful at this, over this period of time?
Yes, first and foremost, like don't be scared of anything. You just put your mind to something, and the life has taught me that everything is possible. So first and foremost, just do it. And I think personally, like a lot of times, maybe even when I was younger in the US, like don't try to emulate anyone else. Be yourself. Be show your true colors. Right. That's important. I'm different than you. You're different than someone else. And if we all gonna be alike, it's gonna be boring. And then you also the fans and the people who consume, they it's not authentic, right? It's not like be you. This is who you are, and people are gonna relate to who you are. And there's certain things that you should follow, some guidelines, but at the end of the day, be you and let your true colors come out. And this is what people relate. They like authentic, they like it on demand, they like to have their media consumed to them in the way that it is now, and just go for it, And I mean, I'm sure you're anxious in the beginning, maybe in the first few, how to do things, and but then it's you're doing an amazing job. So what did you think?
For me, it was more or less just like I was uncomfortable in the beginning. Because just generally just speaking or just public speaking or just trying to figure out, because like I never done this before, and I just got to the point where I was like, what, I'm just going to try it, and I'm just going to try it. And I was like, I feel like if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And I'm just going to try it, and I'm just going to put it out there. And like you said, I'm just going to be myself. And and like you said before, I just enjoy having conversations with people. I enjoy learning about people. I enjoy learning about, who people really are outside of, outside of the surface, just understanding people more.
And that's really just what got me going. Like I just started interviewing people that I just felt that were interesting and I wanted to learn more and I was curious about. And then next thing you know, I became, more and more comfortable with it. So that's kind of,
I had the same thing for me. When you go into an interview and they ask you questions, we've done a million of them already, right? It's coming naturally now, but when you got to be the one holding the interview, you ask a question and you have some sort of a follow-up. And what if, I was nervous. I didn't want the conversation to be stuck, right? So I always, at the beginning, I was kind of, now you have all these different questions that just come out pretty, more naturally. So, but just preparing and doing my homework and getting ready and, it's fun.
Now, where do you see the future of your podcast and then also your future of media? Is it something that you, like you said, are you just sticking to this one podcast platform or do you want to grow it? Like you said, now that you guys have been the number one podcast, interview podcast in the country. So, where do you see this, moving forward?
I usually when I start to do things, I always like to have some sort of a purpose to the thing, right? I don't like to do things for nothing, just for, call it for fun, right? There's some sort of a purpose. And I think the purpose for me is to have a platform and to share some of the values that I believe in, and be able to talk about them and have a good, genuine conversation with people. And I think essentially the idea is to kind of grow it. I want to take it to another level from that perspective of now it's like, all right, I've tried this beta, making my podcast in some sort of a studio. I want to do like a super cool studio. I want it to be like the go-to podcast, and to expand it. Like today, the future of media is changing rapidly. Things are moving fast and we got to adapt. And the way people consume media today is different. And it has value, and I want to be there somewhere. I want to kind of keep pushing the narrative on that.
Yeah, man. I think like I said, man, if you've done that and you're continuing to do that, man. So, I mean, my hat's off to you continuously. So my last two questions before I let you get out of here. I know, so you got a busy schedule. I don't want to hold you too much on your day off. Your advice to younger athletes who want to have a successful career, both on and off the playing field, basketball court, however, what would your advice be?
If I can summarize everything into one, is it's a trait I like the most is be humble. When you're humble, you can listen more, you can listen better. You're not afraid of confrontations. You don't think somebody's trying to take something from you. When you're humble, you're staying ready, you're working hard, you're not getting too high, you're never really getting too low. And I think being humble, but also obviously, bring your passion out and compete and do all that sort of stuff on and off the court. But I think it's a beautiful trait, and I think you can accomplish anything in life. And when you're humble, you're willing to listen more than anything, right? And even now, I get, like I said, talking about Elon Musk and other people, but like having a chance to learn and not think I'm Mr. Know-it-all, right? Yeah. I know what I know, but like I'm always free to listen to different ideas and advices, and like, all right, I want to like, I go to having a good game with Maccabi. First thing I go into that hotel, whatever I see with the hotel, like, what you think? Where your mind at? Like, what do you see out there? Like, yeah, I have my opinion, but like, show me something that I missed, or give me another perspective of what's going on. And then I go to whoever, Scotty, what do you see? Like, what can you do better? But I know I have some sort of an opinion of what's going on but like, I want to hear it first. I want to shape an opinion that I kind of, so I think it's very important for life, I think. And from that point, you can do it in business, you can do it in anything, and you can just flourish, man. Like, just go out and flourish, man. Like, we all we should start, together as a community, as athletes. I love, on my Twitter now, I start to like retweet, like when I see other Americans players, I played with them in the past, where they play here and they do good. Hey, put it out there, whatever amount of followers I have, but I want to start, like, why not? Yeah, we go on the court, we compete, whatever, but we both want to win. But like, I want to push these guys, let's, for some reason in the past, maybe it was like the competition got in the way. To me, I want to see these guys succeed. I want to make them a lot of money. I want them to have a great life for them, for the family. They're good people, and I'm all for it, you know? So being humble, I think, is the basis of all.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful, man. It's definitely wise words, man. Definitely wise words. Last question, I'm gonna let you get out of here. Your favorite current EuroLeague player and your favorite past EuroLeague player to watch. That's not your favorite current EuroLeague player that's not playing for Maccabi. That you're just like, it's an entertaining player I enjoy watching. And your favorite past EuroLeague player. It could be on Maccabi.
Okay, so my favorite past was Anthony Parker. AP was, the way he did things was like MJ-like in Europe. You know, he controlled Europe. He back-to-back MVPs, back-to-back championships.
And not to cut you off, but selfishly, I kind of wish he didn't go to Toronto. Like selfishly, like I wish he would have stayed. Like I wish he would have stayed in Europe, and I wish I would have even though I was younger, like I said, but I just love watching old games and stuff. I want to see like how much more dominant he could have been, like if he would have stayed more in Europe.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I mean, I loved, he was so like humble and the way he carried himself on and off the floor, it was just amazing. He was an unbelievable player, unbelievable person, and he wanted to go out and to accomplish himself in the league, and at the end, he was a starter, a good starter on a championship caliber team, and it's just a class act. Current player that I really like. I played with a lot of guys,
and I know it's in our nature to be like, I don't like any of these guys. I know, like competitively, you're like, I don't want to. when I get asked that question, I'm like, I don't want to say anybody because I don't want to give them that competitive edge. But
I know. I like a lot of guys. I mean, I played with Sofia Rodriguez in Sacramento together, and I love his game. He's older now, more mature. I like seeing older players because they bring something different to the game. They're not going full speed all the time. They have their own pace. Like I told you in the beginning, I love watching you play, right? But why? You have your pace to the game. You see the game different. You defensively and the charisma and the presence you have on the court is just different. It's just different. It is what it is. A young player cannot. It takes time. Like it takes time to pick it up. So all the guys that I love. I mean, like I said, I love your game. I love Otello's. I think Otello is phenomenal. He's obviously playing with us. Sergio. I mean, so many guys. I love. These are some of the guys that, I have many more. I hope I didn't hurt anyone's feelings. But Gigi Datome, me and Gigi played together. I think against each other. Italy against Israel, under 18 national team. We're talking maybe 17 years ago. So we go way back. And there's other guys, right? And also there's guys that have been in Europe and went to the league and succeeded. It's great to see as well. So it's always great.
All right. So before I let you go, please, let the people know where they can find you on social media. Also, your podcast and everything like that, man. This is your time to, shout out everything that you're doing.
Yeah. So we post our full podcast now on YouTube and all the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that sort of stuff. So we could see Omri Casspi podcast. And social media, it's always been Casspi 18 being my number. Instagram, Twitter, all that sort of Facebook. It's an honor to be here, brother. I really appreciate you doing a beautiful thing. I love everything about it. Keep shining.
Thank you, man.
And I see you around the league. We'll see each other again.
Thank you, man. Best of luck the rest of the way. Stay healthy, stay safe. All the best to your family and everybody. Like I said, man, I look forward to us catching up off the air. Real soon.
Yes.
Man, I'm sure we got to, we know a lot of the same people, and we've heard, like I said, I've heard so many great things about you. So I'm really looking forward to that time to spend some, extended amount of time with you.
Absolutely, my brother. Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.